The early 2000s were a busy time to be alive. The dot-com bubble exploded, 9/11 happened, the US got sucked into two never-ending foreign wars, Friends finally ended, and two little sites known as Facebook and YouTube quietly changed the internet forever. But there's more to the so-called knots than the birth of cat videos and bad Chandler Bing impressions.
I'm Chandler Bing, raconteur and sassy man about town. Now would you be a love and fetch me my shawl?
Buried beneath a sea of misinformation, faulty memories, and downright lies, some truly interesting events unfolded, just probably not how you remember them. The Y2K bug. If you were alive and prone to panicking in 1999, it looked a whole lot like the 21st century was going to start with a big, scary, apocalyptic bang.
Is it possible that we're in for an international disaster because so many of the world's computers will be utterly confused by what date it is?
Y2K was the supposed computer bug that would lead to planes dropping out of the sky and other incredibly not fun things.
Almost everyone is preparing for the worst. Potential Y2K computer crashes top the list.
So the US poured tons of money and resources into combating the bug before it reared its ugly head. And then it didn't. Come midnight, December 31st, 1999, nothing happened. Y2K was a big, fat flop. Anyone who remembers it today recalls it as somewhere between a giant waste of money and a huge and dumb public panic. But underneath it all, it revolutionized the entire IT industry, and computer nerds were suddenly taken a whole lot more seriously. Attack of the Clones flopped. When word got out that George Lucas was finally releasing Star Wars prequels, the world rejoiced. Then Anakin came and trampled all over the franchise with his mopey teenage angst and his stupid midichlorians. What did fans and critics think? Well,
they haven't liked any of them, really. And they especially haven't liked the last two. So,
well, exactly.
Hey, it can't get any worse.
The ill-fated prequels would go down in history as the most squandered opportunity in modern moviedom, especially Attack of the Clones, the second film in Lucas's trifecta. So obviously everyone hated it when it came out, right?
I've got a bad feeling about this.
Relax, Anakin. This one's got a happy ending. Attack of the Clones actually got pretty decent reviews. Judith Edgerton of the Courier-Journal in Louisville called it superior to The Phantom Menace with its annoying Jar Jar Binks and its dull, galaxy-hopping storyline. Forrest Harmon of the Reno Gazette-Journal went even further, saying, Lucas returns the series to its roots, delivering a cartoon-like adventure that uses special effects to enhance rather than replace storytelling. That's right, the reaction to Attack of the Clones was originally positive, even if die-hard Star Wars fans may try and Jedi mind trick you into believing otherwise. Apple invented the MP3 player. First introduced in October 2001, the iPod, clocking in at an enormous 5 gigabytes, promised to put your entire music library at the tips of your fingers. Viva la Apple!
iPod, 1,000 songs in your pocket.
Now, people certainly ate up the iPod, and people are still buying first-generation iPods. But most people forget that the iPod wasn't even the first MP3 player. Apple rarely invents something. Rather, they take something and make it better. In this case, the MP3 player had existed since 1998. What Apple did was tie their MP3 player to their music player, iTunes, and make it super easy to use. Apple also marketed their product better than every other MP3 player combined. We're looking at you, Zune. Working to wipe out all competition until all that was left to take them out of commission was themselves. And then they did just that by taking an iPod and sticking it in a phone. Neil deGrasse Tyson killed Pluto.
Space, 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 space.
In August 2006, space lovers woke up to some distressing news. Pluto, the 9th planet of our solar system, was no longer a planet. Worse still, the person responsible was lovable astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson. Okay, to be fair, Tyson really was one of the first people to advocate downgrading Pluto. But science doesn't work by just following beloved TV personalities, it works by analyzing evidence. And it was Caltech astronomer Mike Brown who discovered the dwarf planet Eris, an object with 25% more mass than Pluto, on January 5, 2005. It was game over for Planet 9. The discovery of Eris led the International Astronomers Union to vote on downgrading Pluto. Brown has since written books about killing Pluto and tweets under the painfully accurate handle @PlutoKiller. Sorry, Tyson, can't give you credit for this one.
Oh my God. Oh, oof. Hold me back.
A thriller of a road trip. In the aftermath of the 9/11 attacks, America was at a standstill, literally and figuratively. The FAA grounded all air traffic. So, no matter where you weren't flying anywhere for a couple of days. Michael Jackson celebrated his 30th year in entertainment with momentous concerts in New York on September 7th and September 10th, 2001. Needless to say, that left MJ stuck in New York during the attacks. As the story goes, Michael Jackson, being Michael Jackson, did Michael Jackson-type things. Like what, you ask? Oh, like road tripping to Ohio with his friends Liz Taylor and Marlon Brando, because of course they did. Brando supposedly wanted to stop at every KFC and Burger King they passed, because of course he did. The only problem is that the road trip never happened. Here's what really went down, and pay attention because we're only going to say this once. It was Jose Ibert, hairstylist to the stars, who'd informed Liz Taylor about the attacks. Tim Mendelsohn, a close friend of Taylor's, received a call from Carrie Fisher reporting that her mom, Debbie Reynolds, was all alone in New York. Liz called Debbie, and the two stayed together for about a week after the attacks. As for the King of Pop, he headed to New Jersey via his tour bus following the attacks, and he ended up staying at the home of his friend, Frank Cassio. After Jackson secured his family and children in New Jersey, he turned his attention to fans stuck in New York. Jackson actually paid for close to 36 non-American fans to stay in New Jersey until they could return home via airlines. Now, that's the story that should be out there.